All right, here we are to take a look at another looping structure. Up until this point, we've been using some do loops, like do while or do until looping structures, and those can be helpful to repeat code and have it iterate over and over again until some condition becomes true or false, depending on how you set it up. But there's another type of looping structure that gives us kind of even more control over how many times the loop's going to run, and that type of looping structure is called a for next loop. So we've got a simple one set up right here. Basically, we dimension a variable right in the for next loop. So when we say for and whatever this variable name, I'm just calling mine int counter, but it could have some real meaning to it. But this is dimension just in here. This variable only exists in this for next loop, so its scope doesn't exist anywhere else. We set it equal to some start number, and then we say to a certain ending number. One thing that's optional here is we could have it step different increments. I'm going to leave that for now. If you don't put anything in there, it will just step up by 1. And I've just put a little message box in here where it's going to show what int counter is, and it's going to have the same text as my main form. And then it loops through here. So, and you can see my main form, I didn't really take any time to make anything special here. There's nothing on the main form. I just made a form load event that's going to jump right into this for next loop and start showing int counter in this message box. So there's really, no valuable purpose to this program other than it shows you how this for next loop works. So when I run this, comes up, there's my first message box right there showing int counter the first time. And as I click OK, it's just running through the loop till it gets up to 10. And then it's going to be done and go back to the main form there, right? So I ran the loop 10 times. I showed a message box 10 times. Good to go there, right? If I wanted to make that step differently, now we're only going to see this 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. It's done because once it got to where it added 2 to the 9, it got to 11. That was too high, so it didn't run the time to show us 10 there. Okay, we can step backwards if we wanted to. So with this now, we do have to have our start be higher than our ending. But if I did it this way, here now it's going to count down from 10 to 5. So we basically just have this counter that we could utilize to make this loop. We have a lot of control over how many times this loop's going to run. I know at this point it probably seems like, well, what's this good for exactly? We need to see an application of it, and what we'll do is go on to the next section and look at some string class variables and what they're actually holding and how that has implications for using for next loops here.